You're blind to it, and it's costing you more than you realize. She's sitting across from you, thinking about you in ways you would never suspect, and you're missing every subtle signal that could make her feel drawn, intrigued, even obsessed. Most men focus on the obvious: looks, money, confidence, but attraction doesn't work that way. Psychology is not about flashy gestures or superficial charm. It's about triggering deeper, unconscious responses that women feel before they even think. And if you don't understand this, you're leaving desire on the table. Here's the first secret. Women are turned on by emotional intelligence, not just physical strength. It's not about knowing the right lines or telling a joke. It's about the subtle cues you give that show you understand her, that you notice the small things. When you respond to her mood, read her energy, and mirror her subtle emotional states, you're telling her without words, I see you, I understand you, I get you. Most men miss this entirely. They talk at her, not with her. They perform, but they don't connect. The second thing men overlook is presence. You can have a six-pack, a six-figure salary, and still be invisible if your energy isn't anchored. Presence is about showing up fully, without distraction, without insecurity. Women feel it instinctively. A man who is present commands attention without demanding it. He's not trying too hard. He's not seeking approval. He's simply occupying space with confidence that doesn't need validation. And then there's vulnerability, a word men hate. But paradoxically, vulnerability is magnetic. Showing controlled vulnerability, like admitting a small flaw or sharing a fear without being needy, creates trust and intimacy that physical attraction alone can't match. Most men think vulnerability is weakness, but psychology proves it signals authenticity, honesty, and emotional depth, all of which turn women on in ways they can't fully explain. By the end of this video, you'll discover the 6 turn-ons men always miss, and more importantly, you'll understand the psychology behind why they work. Once you see these triggers, you'll never interact with women the same way again, and you'll start generating attraction that feels effortless, natural, and irresistible. The first turn-on most men completely miss is the power of subtle attention to detail. Think you're showing interest by sending long texts or buying expensive gifts? Wrong. She doesn't want the obvious gestures. She wants the micro-attentions that signal you're truly paying attention. Did you remember how she described her favorite coffee or the song she mentioned in passing last week? Did you notice her energy shift when she talks about something she's passionate about? These small, unconscious cues signal awareness, and that creates a deep sense of being valued. Women feel it on a gut level, before logic even kicks in. When you catch these details and respond naturally, it triggers dopamine in her brain. That's the chemistry of attraction, and most men are blind to it. The second turn-on is confidence expressed without arrogance. But there's a catch. This isn't the kind of confidence most men think of. It's not loud, aggressive, or dominant. It's quiet, steady, and anchored in your sense of self. Women can detect neediness from a mile away. Every second you try too hard to impress her, your confidence erodes and attraction diminishes. Real confidence is knowing your worth without having to prove it. When a man is grounded, he communicates stability, safety, and presence, all deeply attractive qualities that women respond to instinctively. This isn't learned from Instagram or motivational speeches. It's built through self-mastery, consistency, and living in alignment with your values. The psychology here is simple but overlooked. Women subconsciously assess a man's emotional stability and attention quality before they assess anything else. They respond more to energy and presence than to appearance or money. That's why so many men with perfect looks or income struggle in dating. They lack the subtle layers of emotional awareness and grounded presence that trigger attraction on a deeper level. Once you start noticing and cultivating these qualities, interactions shift immediately. Conversations feel effortless, she's more engaged, and attraction starts to flow naturally. These are the first keys to unlocking the 6 turn-ons most men completely ignore. Miss them, and you stay stuck in the cycle of trying too hard, overthinking, and wondering why nothing works. The third turn-on men almost always miss is controlled mystery. Most men lay their entire life story on the table too soon, thinking transparency equals attraction. It doesn't. Women are wired to respond to intrigue. When a man keeps some aspects of his life private, not because he's hiding anything, but because he has boundaries and a sense of self, he creates curiosity. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's a natural expression of autonomy and self-possession. When she feels like there's more to uncover, her brain releases dopamine every time she learns something new about you. That's the subtle, invisible pull of attraction that most men sabotage by oversharing or trying too hard to impress. The fifth turn on men almost never notice is emotional contrast. Women are wired to respond to shifts in energy, moments where you show depth, intensity, or passion, balanced with calm, stability, and control. Most men live on a flat emotional plane. They're either too serious or too casual, too predictable. Emotional contrast creates tension and intrigue. It's the spark that makes her feel alive around you. A subtle moment of intensity, sharing a meaningful opinion, showing conviction, or reacting genuinely, followed by calm, composed behavior, triggers emotional peaks and valleys in her brain. That fluctuation naturally produces desire. Now, the sixth and final turn-on is non-neediness combined with decisive action. Here's the irony. Women say they want men who are confident, but they are subconsciously turned on by men who can make decisions without hesitation, while showing they aren't desperate for approval. Neediness is the ultimate attraction killer because it signals insecurity and emotional volatility. But decisiveness paired with independence communicates power, stability, and reliability, all traits that women unconsciously crave. Whether it's planning a night out, making choices in conversation, or taking the lead in subtle ways, decisive men communicate competence and security in their presence. Psychologically, these two turn-ons work because women are wired to assess a man's ability to navigate life without relying on them for validation. Emotional contrast signals depth and intensity. They feel alive and connected. Non-neediness signals strength and autonomy. They feel safe and drawn in. Together, they create a powerful cocktail of desire that most men fail to generate because they are either emotionally flat or emotionally needy. This is why the men who get the girl effortlessly are rarely the richest or the best looking. They're the ones who master emotional energy, presence, and decision-making. They create attraction without trying, subtly triggering desire at the unconscious level. Once you understand these 6 turn-ons, attention to detail, grounded confidence, controlled vulnerability, mystery, intelligent humor, emotional contrast, and non-neediness, you'll see why most men fail to spark attraction and why a few men always seem to have the edge effortlessly. The third turn-on men almost always miss is controlled mystery. Most men lay their entire life story on the table too soon, thinking transparency equals attraction. It doesn't. Women are wired to respond to intrigue. When a man keeps some aspects of his life private, not because he's hiding anything, but because he has boundaries and a sense of self, he creates curiosity. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's a natural expression of autonomy and self-possession. When she feels like there's more to uncover, her brain releases dopamine every time she learns something new about you. That's the subtle, invisible pull of attraction that most men sabotage by oversharing or trying too hard to impress. The fourth turn-on is humor paired with intelligence. But not just any humor, intelligence-infused humor. Women respond to men who can make them laugh while demonstrating quick thinking, insight, or perspective. The joke isn't the key, the context is. It signals mental sharpness, creativity, and social awareness, all of which are deeply attractive traits. When you combine humor with subtle intelligence, it communicates confidence and social competence without arrogance. Most men underestimate this because they think funny alone is enough, but without depth, it becomes surface-level entertainment, not magnetic attraction. Here's the psychological mechanism. The human brain is constantly evaluating 2 things: safety and value. Humor shows safety. Intelligence shows value. Pair them correctly, and you're stimulating her emotional and cognitive interest simultaneously. Most men fail because they either try too hard to impress intellectually or rely solely on surface-level jokes. The balance is what creates tension, excitement, and desire, the kind that makes her think about you long after the conversation ends. By now, you can see a pattern. Attraction isn't about grand gestures. It's about subtle, strategic expressions of self-awareness, presence, and competence. Missing these cues is why so many men with everything on paper fail to truly connect. But once you master controlled mystery and intelligent humor, you create a magnetic energy that women can feel unconsciously, drawing her closer without effort or manipulation. Knowing the 6 turn-ons is one thing. Using them naturally is another. This is where most men fail. They understand the psychology intellectually, but can't translate it into real-life presence. Attraction is not a checklist. It's energy, timing, and subtlety combined. You don't need to announce every trait or try to execute every turn-on consciously. The trick is to integrate them into how you exist, how you speak, and how you show up. Start with micro-attention and observation. Notice the little things about her, tone, body language, interests, and respond naturally. A comment here, a gentle acknowledgement there. It signals presence and emotional intelligence without seeming calculated. Women notice these small cues subconsciously, and it builds tension and intrigue over time. Then anchor yourself in steady confidence and presence. Ground yourself in your own life, your routines, goals, and passions, so you're never reactive. Your confidence becomes contagious. You're no longer seeking approval. You're setting a standard for how she experiences you. Combine that with controlled vulnerability and emotional contrast, and you're signaling depth and authenticity. Share meaningful moments or insights naturally, then balance them with calm, composed energy. This dynamic creates peaks and valleys that trigger emotional desire without manipulation. Layer in controlled mystery and intelligent humor. Don't overshare and allow her to uncover your personality over time. Use humor not as a tool to impress, but as a way to engage her mind while showing quick wit and creativity. Pair this with non-neediness and decisive action. Make choices confidently, plan experiences, and maintain independence. This signals strength, stability, and autonomy, which are highly attractive traits. The key is subtlety. You don't have to perform or overthink. The more effortless your integration, the more magnetic your energy becomes. Women feel it unconsciously. They don't see the 6 turn-ons as steps. They feel the presence, confidence, and emotional depth radiating from you. Here's the truth most men never fully grasp. Attraction is not about doing more. It's about being more. It's not about trying to impress, perform, or chase. It's about cultivating presence, emotional depth, and grounded confidence so magnetic that women respond to you naturally, almost unconsciously. The 6 turn-ons we've explored: attention to detail, grounded confidence, controlled vulnerability, mystery, intelligent humor, emotional contrast, and non-neediness, aren't tricks or gimmicks. They're reflections of who you are when you live anchored in your own value. Think about it. When a man truly embodies these traits, he doesn't need validation from anyone. He doesn't overanalyze texts or obsess over responses. He lives deliberately, engages authentically, and holds space for attraction to grow on its own. Women are wired to detect authenticity, emotional stability, and energy. When you radiate these qualities consistently, it bypasses superficial attraction entirely. It triggers desire, respect, and connection simultaneously. This is why men who master these turn-ons don't just attract women, they inspire interest, curiosity, and emotional investment without manipulation. The difference is subtle but profound. While most men scramble to impress, they cultivate magnetic presence effortlessly, and the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Every interaction reinforces your value, every choice aligns with your self-worth, and every moment strengthens the invisible pull that draws women to you. Now here's something for you to reflect on. If your daily attention, emotional depth, and presence multiplied by your confidence and non-neediness equals your magnetic score, what's your score today? Be honest. Write it in the comments. This isn't just theory. It's a mirror to see where you are and where you need to grow. If this video opened your eyes, like it, subscribe for more truths most men never hear, and share it with a friend who needs to wake up to this reality. Remember, attraction isn't about chasing. It's about becoming the man who naturally ignites desire simply by existing fully and authentically. Your value is in your presence, and your presence is everything.